Yo, what's going on YouTube? Apologies for my brief absence. Had a little bit of family things to tie up over the holidays there. And I've been busy on the back end as well. Have some things going on behind the scenes that I'm preparing for. One of those things is an event that I'll be at this weekend somewhere in the southwest of America. I'll be presenting there and then filming those presentations for YouTube as well. And some other things going on behind the scenes as well. So I've been busy, but it takes about 3 or 4 days, of me not doing a video here on YouTube. Then I start getting the DMs from people. Jordan, you okay? Where are you at? Just checking in here. And I love them. I love you guys for checking in on me. But I've just been busy, although I want to get back into doing the videos. So here I am doing this one live. Got my phone here. And this is the setup how I used to do my videos about a year ago. I would just do it very ghetto style, go live on my phone with the screen behind me, because when Q first started coming on the scene, there was so much stuff going on and so many things we were all trying to reconcile that sometimes doing it this way is just a little easier than pre-recording or me figuring out how to do the whole Wirecast setup. I don't know, this way just works. So drop a comment below, if you like this. I think I might factor it in a little bit more just when I don't have time to pre-record and take the couple hours to edit up the videos. But as for this, we're just going to cover the past couple of days of stuff. So we're going to begin talking about the Golden Globes and weird stuff going on there. I mean, first of all, we had the whole flu shot dealio. So quite frankly, I had no idea the Golden Globes were even on the other night, on Sunday night, until literally they were already on and I started getting messages from people with articles and things that were happening. So it was news to me. But anyway, first thing I saw was this right here. Andy Samberg and then whoever this actress is, I don't even know her. They were trying to give out flu shots during the Golden Globes. And this skit, first of all, in the skit, they were mentioning pizza. First of all, they said, we're thankful for pizza. And then they started going off on these flu shot rants. And Andy Samberg and this actress literally went into the crowd and they were trying to give people flu shots. Some of the celebrities were making faces and trying to shy away from it. Some, I don't even know what the heck this was, but it was ridiculous. Andy Samberg at one point said, all the anti-vaxxers put a napkin on your head. Just in the most ridiculing way. And that's why you started seeing a lot of memes on the internet with people and people's profile pictures with napkins on their heads. So silly stuff. Then we had Christian Bale thanking Satan. That was odd. That was really odd. And not just that, but the Church of Satan Twitter. So the Church of Satan, they got a verification too. I don't even know how that works. But the Church of Satan Twitter thanks Christian Bale for thanking Satan during his speech. So it was like so many things right in your face during these awards. And we also had a few other things going on right in your face. There was a tribute to Jeff Bridges that played during the Golden Globes. And during this tribute to Jeff Bridges, Jeff Bridges being one of the lead actors in White Squall. And during this tribute to Bridges, they showed the Where We Go One, We Go All bell. This is a tweet made of somebody who was watching it, and they caught a couple of screenshots of it. You can see the Where We Go One, We Go All bell right there played during the tribute, during the Golden Globes. So, really weird. And last thing, very last thing, Fiji Water Girl. How about Fiji Water Girl? And this one is probably the funniest because this is no accident. This chick, she was photobombing as many people as she could, basically. She turned out to be a model out of LA. And I don't know her name, though. But model out of LA, had the Fiji water, going around photobombing people in almost the most cheeky, obnoxious way possible. This is not an accident. Remember Trump's Fiji water drink? He stopped his speech last year, maybe it was 2017, takes a sip of his Fiji water. People were thinking that he was weird or deranged or something like that, but it's all hidden meanings. It's all hidden meanings and subtle messages that we have going on. And when we have Trump taking a drink of Fiji water, when we have this LA model who was maybe paid to do this gig, to just carry the Fiji water around and photobomb people in this trollsy way, it's a message, and it has everything to do with a message to the deep state. When you think Fiji, especially Fiji water, think Nexium. Inside Nexium's financier Claire Bronfman's $50 million Fiji island. And when it comes to Fiji, Fiji is one of the hottest destinations on the planet for human trafficking. So with Trump taking a drink of his Fiji water, with Fiji Water Girl, this model who is tasked to just, go around and hold this Fiji water and catch news, I mean straight messages to these human trafficking diabolical elite that they work from private islands oftentimes. Private islands in Fiji. Claire Bronfman does. So Fiji messages right there. Now moving on to a few other cute things. I see some people commenting RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So we'll move on to that. Ruth Bader Ginsburg absent from the Supreme Court bench. Second day in a row. Second day in a row now. So I would like proof of life, quite frankly. I don't think Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she may or may not even be alive right now, quite frankly. And we can go back to one of Q's drops from the 6th, so 2 days ago. And this is really, of course, coincidental. On the 6th, we get Q talking about RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg here. And then just yesterday on the 7th, the news surfaces that she missed her Supreme Court day for the first time in 25 years. So no coincidence all there. Q asking why was she selected, who appointed her, and all sorts of other questions. Near the end here it says, who are the doctors currently treating RBG? What off-market drugs is being provided to her in order to sustain minimum daily function if she's even alive now? What's the real medical diagnosis of her? Who is managing her care? And a lot of other questions. And then the meat of this drop goes into a lot of dots on how Ruth Bader Ginsburg is really the one on the Supreme Court who is tasked to perpetuate the sexual perversion agenda of the deep state. Just all sorts of weird prostitution laws she wrote in different acts, just all kinds of weird stuff. We don't need to get into that here, but what I want to get into is these questions on who is treating her and where she's being treated. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg is being treated at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York. And the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center has really had some problems in previous months. Right here, this goes back to October 4th of last year, so this is just about 3 months ago. The CEO of Memorial Sloan Kettering resigned from being on the board of directors of Merck. So the CEO of the hospital that RGB was treated at resigned from the board of Merck, and you already know when you hear Merck, all sorts of questionable big pharma connections there. So we have all sorts of CEOs, board of directors of these different big pharma companies working in bed together. So we have that. Also we have the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer of Memorial Sloan Kettering. His name's Jose Baselga. He stepped down, again, back in September, October, so about 3.5 months ago. Lots of big names at Memorial Sloan stepping down. He went on to, just yesterday, this was announced, AstraZeneca hired him. AstraZeneca hires the former CMO, Chief Marketing Officer from Sloan Kettering, who failed to disclose industry payments. This is why he stepped down from Memorial Sloan, was because basically he wasn't admitting that he was getting big pharma payouts. And check this out. He resigned after reports surfacing claiming that he failed to disclose significant financial ties to the drug industry and other healthcare companies in more than 100 research articles. 100 research articles he got payouts for, and he failed to disclose them. This is the kind of stuff that goes on in the pharmaceutical industry. Doctors getting bought and paid for to write articles, write mis and disinformation, whatever basically their corporate buyers want them to. So, gosh, you know how NASCAR drivers always have their corporate sponsors on their jackets? We should have politicians and scientists do the same thing. Medical scientists, physics scientists, climate scientists. We should all have their corporate sponsors logos on their jackets. So anyway, all sorts of weird stuff going on with Memorial Sloan Kettering, their board of directors, the head scientists that are there. AstraZeneca as well. This is the company that makes tamoxifen. They make the most prescribed breast cancer drug in the nation. AstraZeneca is also the company that created Breast Cancer Awareness Month back in the 1980s. They were the funders behind Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So conflicts of interest right there. We have Memorial Sloan Kettering, ex-CMO, going to AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca started Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They make breast cancer drugs. Wow, who would have thunk, right? During Breast Cancer Awareness Month propaganda, they always tell women to go get their mammograms, go get these doctor-prescribed treatments for your cancer, cut, poison, burn. It's a whole cesspool of corruption. Big pharma, big media, you know, all of it. So there we have some weird stuff going on with the hospital that RBG is being treated at. I don't know the exact doctor currently treating RBG, but, you know, it's got to have some bad connections there. As for the rest of Q's drops, past couple days, we have RBG. We have this drop on MK Ultra. This one set some people, you know, Q saying the whole going deep here, getting into some details on MK Ultra. This one definitely, I saw it shock a few people. A lot of people went off on the rabbit hole with this one. But it says program development ongoing under offshore tangent agency. And this is in regards to the CIA's MK Ultra programs. So Q linking this article here about the recent FOIA requests by John Greenwald of the Black Vault, and these FOIA requests unearthing some more information about MK Ultra. This happened in early December, about a month ago. And Q saying here, covert funding for these programs. Of course, when you have black programs, black projects that are off the books, they get covert funding from various ways. Global collateral accounts, black market, etc. Animals to humans. Humans 1988. Meaning that a lot of the initial experiments that were done on animal test subjects then went on to human experimentation. And they had quite the success rate in the trauma-based mind control that they were trying to do with their patients. Targeted mental criteria designated as blank there, mental institutions and therapists, quote, program specialists. So if you go into a lot of the research of the CIA, many of the hospitals they were involved with back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, not just that, but a lot of the Nazi scientists that came over and were embedded into the healthcare realm, you find a lot of questionable connections. For instance, with Memorial Sloan Kettering, where RBG is being treated, I saw Rockefeller connections. I did see CIA connections. And of course, any sort of Rockefeller connections in the medical world, that's deep state right there. So I would imagine that a lot of these mental institutions and large hospitals, all sorts of black programs being going on there. Cocktail regimen 4 times a day for brain intercept administered by probably the program specialist. And this cocktail regimen might have various compounds in it, whether it's for mind swiping, creating that alter within the patient's subconscious to be programmed, or whether it's some sort of super soldier cocktail. Could be anything of the such. WIA military personnel targets of the program. So wounded in action. WIA military personnel targets of the program because they are undergoing PTSD. When you have somebody undergoing trauma, that's why it's called trauma-based mind control. That was the MK Ultra's goal to study back in the 60s and 70s. When you have trauma-based mind control, it fractures that subconsciousness that we were just talking about. And you can program the alters, so you can put certain kill switches, or you could say operations, missions into a subject, and they might not even know because you can program different alters within a being. Just go watch Jason Bourne. That's why down here, something out of a movie, Q questions. Jason Bourne is basically the truth in plain sight. That's exactly what that movie was sort of signifying, was they take a wounded in action military personnel, bring him into one of these black projects, control him, and try to carry out various operations, very illegal operations with these patsies. So MK Ultra goes deep. You know, it never went away. It just went deeper, blacker, got reprogrammed, renamed. There's a lot of projects that were offshoots of MK Ultra. The Montauk Project. The Montauk Project is absolutely fascinating. They were working with psychic, shall we say, psychic powers of individuals, the consciousness of one, and they were doing various remote viewing experiments and time travel experiments in the Montauk Project. You also have, of course, various names. I mean, we don't even know many of the names because, of course, they went deeper, blacker. But MK Ultra never went away. It just got repurposed, and they're doing different stuff now with it. Mass mind control, Montauk Project, these super soldier programs and clandestine black ops, as Q says here. So that was an interesting drop. A lot of rabbit holes to go off with that one. And then all sorts of other things in regards to Q. Much of it is just sort of reiteration. Like here, Q reiterating Hollywood pushing mass fear, fake news media pushing mass fear, pushing the stock market collapse, economic collapse, all sorts of stuff. But finishing up here, of course, we have this tweet from Trump, tweeted yesterday, how tonight he's going to be addressing the nation at 9 Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific in regards to the national security crisis going on our southern border. It's supposed to only be an 8-minute address, but the mainstream media is very reluctant. They're very, very reluctant to be showing this. I saw that I think NBC and CNN and many of these outlets were debating whether or not they were going to show it in the first place. But I think they all are, and you can catch this tonight at 6 Western, 9 Pacific, or 9 Eastern. And I wouldn't doubt if Donald Trump's going to declare the national emergency to get the border wall built this evening. That border wall, which we already know Red Castle, Army Corps of Engineers, is going to be building. But the reason why they didn't call a national emergency sooner, and this was mentioned in some of these Q's drops, is that they basically wanted the deep state they wanted to hang them out to dry. They wanted them to show their true colors, show their true face. So they waited a little while to call the national emergency to get the border wall built, but they did that very strategically, and now it looks like it is time. It's time to get that wall built and funded, at least the sections of the wall along the border that we need to combat the human and drug trafficking. I'm going to take a minute to talk about Max Spiers here. So we have the inquest, that's what Europe basically calls the trials, going on over in Poland, I believe, just the past couple of days. And yesterday we started to see some news articles going around, this one from The Guardian, titled here, Conspiracy Theorist Max Spiers Died After Taking Anxiety Drug. And in this article by The Guardian, they basically go into calling him a conspiracy theorist who was addicted to drugs, who claimed that he was on Xanax because he was suffering from pneumonia, and they also claim that he was found with a huge amount of potentially fatal level of oxycodone in his system. Now, The Guardian is trying to claim that this is a settled case, that this is the truth, but it's not. The inquest or the trial is going on right now. It's not even done yet. It's still going on today. I believe we have 3 days of inquests in this session going on right now. So we just had 1 day. Second day is today. And the case isn't even settled yet. So The Guardian is just trying to discredit the whole situation here and throw out some propaganda about it. So it's pretty ridiculous. Smear piece, total smear piece on Max Spiers. And I'm just wondering who is covering up his death or the circumstances around his death. Very odd. Next, World Bank president stepping down. Jim Yong Kim steps down as president of the World Bank. And this one is huge. This one is huge. So, first of all, we can add this to the list of how many thousands of CEOs and board directors and high officials have resigned over the past year and a half, not just in America here, but worldwide. Add him to the list. But not just that, president of the World Bank. This guy was a very prominent name. He had a lot. He had a lot of high-level connections. He had connections to the Clintons, to Bill Gates, to lots of other foundations and definite questionable individuals. So this guy resigning, he didn't even want to wait out his term. That's the intriguing thing about this, is that he was very near, he was not due to leave until 2022 after being reelected for a second 5-year term in 2017. So he was a few years out, actually, from ending his post, but he stepped down, 3 years early? Wonder why. And then last thing I want to talk to you guys about is some flu shot propaganda. Like clockwork, right? We get the weird skit at the Golden Globes, and then this coming out all around the media. You know, they get their talking points by way of their secure drop systems or however, and it's like the same day you get hundreds of articles circulating like wildfire through the mainstream, all on the same topic, usually with the same headlines. But right here it says, flu shot may be more effective than the nasal vaccine. Study says, as we talked about those studies earlier, they can fund those studies to say whatever they want. And we get this coming out of the mainstream media just a day or two after that flu shot skit at the Golden Globes. But basically some propaganda here trying to sell the flu vaccine. Lots of that lately. Just ridiculous. And speaking of vaccines, Chuck Schumer. Who else? None other than Senator Chuck Schumer in New York today trying to sell the shingle shot. Sell the shingle shot. Schumer selling the shingle shot. Say that 5 times fast. Senator Schumer selling the shingle shot. He's in New York doing that today because there's a shortage there. So he is shilling for the FDA today. Shilling for the FDA to address the shingles vaccine shortage on Long Island. Just look at his donors. I haven't even looked at his donors. I don't know who donates to Chuck Schumer, but stuff like this happens. Just follow the money. You know, I'd imagine he probably has some donations from Merck. Speaking of Merck, maybe some other big pharma companies in his pocket or have him in their pocket. But there you go. So weird stuff going on at the Golden Globes. Flu shot skit. Thanks, Satan. We got a Christian thanking Satan. What's 2019 coming to? That's just weird. Bell showing, Fiji Water Girl. Really makes you think. If Patriots are in control, who knows if they're controlling the Golden Globes, controlling these sorts of events, or trying to do stuff like this to put some messages out there. I mean, if we're going to destroy Hollywood and destroy the fake news media, we want them to destroy themselves. That's the easiest way to do it. That's the way that would be the easiest for the mass public. Not to destroy Hollywood, destroy the fake news media, but make them destroy themselves so people see that in the public. So I wouldn't doubt if we have a little bit of that going on with the Golden Globes here. Like, make it so obnoxious that it's almost too obnoxious. It's almost too ridiculous. People have to wake up then, you know. Fiji water, Fiji messages, lots of new Q, and RBG. Who knows if RBG is going to be coming back, and all sorts of weird stuff going on with Big Pharma. So that's that, guys. Trump's address will be tonight. I'll be doing some more videos this week, maybe today, and probably mix in this live stuff a little bit more with the pre-recorded. But that's all for this one. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate your support. And take care, y'all. Have a good one.